Victoria Beckham pulled a stunt during her son's wedding that left his wife crying. Allegedly. Now, for some unknown reason, at least unknown to me, this wedding from 2022 is making headlines yet again. Now, of course, with a name like Victoria Beckham involved, anytime something pops off like this, it's gonna make headlines because of who she is and her husband and her kids. And obviously, we have some sort of really bizarre fascination with famous people who have more money than us. I don't know why. But for those of you who are not up to date on the tea, don't worry. I've got it for you. It's piping hot 2.5 years later. Or is it 3? I don't know when they got married in 2022. Anyways, it's been a long time. Victoria Beckham reportedly hijacked a dance at her son's 2022 wedding, causing the bride to run from the room crying. The former Spice Girl allegedly pulled the stunt during the wedding between her son, Brooklyn Beckham, and his wife, Nicola Peltz, that ultimately ruined their Palm Beach ceremony, a source close to the Peltz family told People magazine. The eyebrow-raising claim was leveled against Victoria amid a very public for Dieu. I'm hoping I said that right because it felt fancy. Between her and her daughter-in-law, whose billionaire father, Nelson Peltz, is a close friend and neighbor of Donald Trump, okay? Mark Anthony, who is a friend of the Beckhams, offered to perform as a gift at the wedding, the source told the outlet. Before the song began, Mark Anthony asked Brooklyn to come to the stage and then announced the most beautiful woman in the room tonight. Come on up, Victoria Beckham. Peltz apparently felt that Victoria ruined her wedding and couldn't understand why. Who couldn't understand? Victoria? Or Nicola? You ruined my wedding, but I can't figure out why. Another insider claimed that the entire room fell into silence in shock. It was such a jaw-dropping moment that it left the whole room in absolute shock. You could hear a pin drop, the source disclosed. Well, that's on the DJ if I'm not playing a little something in the background to smooth over the situation. Representatives for Victoria and David Beckham did not immediately respond to the Daily Beast request for comment. I don't know why I picked this article out of all the articles, but here we are. People sources further divulged that the fashion designer allegedly began slow dancing with her son after she was introduced on stage. It wasn't appropriate, one source said of the moment, claiming that everyone then saw Nicola run from the room crying. Not walk out quietly, just run. Sorry, I'm not making fun of her pain. I promise I'm not. That's not my intent, but like, ran? Crying? Or was it like subtly walking, dabbing tears from her eyes, trying to compose herself? Nicola felt like Victoria did this on purpose when she knew it was a pre-planned romantic dance meant for Brooklyn and Nicola. What she couldn't understand was why, the source continued. So much to unpack here. Another insider told People that the stunt had been part of a larger, ongoing rift between the couple and David and Victoria, claiming that the duo have been trying to make peace with the former soccer player and singer. The article goes on to say rumors of the rift have been going, since he didn't show up to his dad's birthday party, yada, yada, yada. Maybe this is why it's popped back up again. But let's run through the technical issues from a wedding planner's perspective who's been doing this for 10 years. We've got a couple of glaring issues here. 1, Mark Anthony. What are we doing out here, friend? Why are we making statements like that at someone else's wedding? I'm gonna chalk it up to you're just an awkward guy. Maybe you didn't know what to say. It was like a dad joke that you thought would be funny and it didn't land just quite right. Because we all want to make sure that the bride feels like the most beautiful woman in the room on her wedding day. That's really important for us as planners. That's really important for photographers. That's really important for all the vendors there, that the couple feels really treasured and really taken care of. And ideally, that also includes anyone who holds a microphone on your wedding day. So your DJ, an MC if you're having a separate one of those, anyone giving speeches, your officiant, and perhaps any sort of famous musician who might be singing for you. You don't know. I don't know. We don't even know if he ended up singing. Let's set the stage here. Mark comes out, says something awkward. Victoria walks out knowing it's awkward. There's her son. Music starts playing. She's like, I'm just gonna go with this moment and try to smooth things over because I don't know what to do right now because all eyeballs are on us. Which, when we phrase it like that, sounds like a perfectly logical way of handling things, right? Oh, there's your buddy who just goofed up and said one of the most ridiculous things you could say on someone else's wedding day is to call the mother of the groom the most beautiful woman in the room. Awkward. And here she is trying to recover, swaying back and forth because there's music playing and someone's like, find Nicola. And the wedding planner's rushing out, bringing her tissues, trying to comfort her, get her back into the space. And Victoria's like, I'm just gonna sway back and forth because I don't know what else to do with my son. It takes a whole lot of steps unless you know the character of the people that you're talking about, right? Unless you know them personally and intimately. It takes a whole lot of steps to get from oopsie, someone said something real goofy and inappropriate to mother of the groom hijacked and ruined the entire wedding. But it's not just me that feels this way. Let's head to the comments over on Reddit. Sounds more like a Mark Anthony stunt? I would likely agree with you. Again, lacking context and not being there and the sources very credible sources and all the information they're sharing, I would chalk this up to an oopsie on the microphone. After a little while, it says, too long didn't read, she stole the first dance. Did she? Or did she see her daughter-in-law leave the room, upset, and try to recover the moment and give people something to look at while this was being remedied behind the scenes? People sources further divulged that the fashion designer allegedly began slow dancing with her son after she was introduced on stage. This is awkward, just gonna do something, cause the DJ played a slow song, and we're covering up what's happening behind the scenes. I sing just like her too. Although there is another statement here that I don't know if I read in the article, but it says Nicola felt like Victoria did this on purpose when she knew is a pre-planned romantic dance meant for Brooklyn and Nicola. What she couldn't understand was why, the source continued. Well, you left the room because someone said something hurtful, and I totally get it, and you're allowed to process, but all eyeballs are on this stage. So I don't think, especially if you've already left, we don't know when she left the room. We don't know if the statement was made and then she leaves and then the slow dancing starts. That's actually a really important point. Maybe the statement was said and then the music starts playing and then the slow dancing starts. That's also a DJ goof up here. Why are we playing slow dancing music? DJ, if you saw that the mother of the groom was invited up, don't cue the first dance song. Or maybe you thought, oh, we're switching up the order. We're doing the mother-son dance now instead of the first dance and playing that slow song instead. To which Nicola would have understood that, oh, this is a different song. So even if she's still in the room, there is that moment of, oh, it's okay. They're just going to play this song instead. So we have a second person who's goofed up here. Mark Anthony being goofy. Victoria maybe trying to save the moment. The DJ playing the wrong song or the right song at the wrong time. Which also, by the way, I feel like he could have jumped on the microphone. The DJ could have been like, ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention to the stage for the mother-son dance. Boom. Smooth it over. Smooth it on over. Pretend like nothing happened. I love this. How many years ago was the wedding? April 2022. Yep, 3 years. 3 whole years. Between all of this and the wedding planners getting stiffed, this whole wedding was just wall-to-wall horrible people. When I landed on this set of commentary, I was like, what? What are we talking about? Y'all, do you know how many wedding planners Nicola allegedly, her family allegedly, went through before getting to the big day? 3 different wedding planning firms and or companies, which admittedly sounds like a lot of wedding planners, but the general assumption is, oh, well, maybe they started with one, didn't quite work out, and then did more planning with that one, maybe it didn't work out, and then did a little bit more with a third one, and then obviously the wedding happened. No, they had their first wedding planner up until 6 weeks before their wedding day. If you've been following this channel for any season of time or have planned a wedding yourself, you know the last 6 weeks are crazy. So that means they worked really, really long with one planner and for some reason decided to part ways and then joined on with a new firm, worked with them for 9 days, didn't like working with them, and then moved on to their third and final planner less than 5 weeks before their big event. What has to go down in order for your long-term planner to no longer be your planner a mere month and a half before your wedding day? And then what else has to go down for your second set of planners to only work with you for 9 days, to then have to be scooped up by the final planner about a month and a half before your event? I don't know, but let's read about it, shall we? Revealed. Nicola Peltz's terse text to wedding planners after she went through 3 firms as her billionaire father, who refers to her as a world-famous actress, sues one firm for not returning his $159,000 deposit. Okay, so we got a picture of wedding planner 1, wedding planners 2, and wedding planner number 3. Oh, it's Michelle. Quick little points. Nicola Peltz is suing Nicole Bragan and Ariana Grijalba, the second planners. They were fired within 9 days after Nicola grew tired of their mistakes. The first planner, Preston Bailey, stepped down 6 weeks before the event. Let me tell you. As planners, if we're working a celebrity event, there's a lot of pomp and circumstance that comes around this, right? There's a lot of stress, but there's also a little bit of notoriety with it, right? I've planned this celebrity's event. I can handle high pressure situations like this. And then that's a really good feather in your cap for your company if you haven't done this before, or if you have, it's just another feather. It's further proof to show that you can handle intense events like this with higher budgets, with greater guest counts, etc. So for a planner with the caliber and repertoire of Preston Bailey, check him out if you haven't seen him before. He's globally, internationally renowned for what he does for events. He's impeccable. For him to go ahead and leave an event 6 weeks before it happens tells me that something had to go down. Sure, it could have been something medical or maybe a minor disagreement, but it's a huge decision for a wedding planner to make that would affect a couple so close to their wedding day. There has to be a really big reason for why this planner and their firm would leave. Let's read a little bit about it. Nicola, the 28-year-old daughter of billionaire investor Nelson Peltz, went through 3 different sets of wedding planners, 2 of whom failed to meet the scale of her plans. How they managed to plan for that long and then have their first wedding planner fail to meet the scale of these plans is absolutely beyond me. I'm trying to take all this with a grain of salt, but I just don't understand it. There was a last-minute scramble to book musicians and a day of reckoning with one event designer who was reduced to tears by the stress of the project. Oh my. Those new details emerged yesterday. I don't know when this article was written. The day before it was. Along with text written by Nicola to one of the planners in a lawsuit filed by her father, a punchy and tenacious businessman who is vying for a seat on the board of Disney. That's very helpful information. Thank you so much. I think you just wanted to link to another article of yours. He is suing Nicole Bragan, the tearful party planner, and her partner, Ariana Grijalba. High school Spanish is coming in hot, guys, claiming they are refusing to refund him the $159,000 deposit he gave them. Peltz and his wife Claudia made contact with the two through their firm, Plan Design Events, in March 2022 after getting rid of their first planner, celebrity-adored Preston Bailey. See, it's not just me. I'm not just blowing smoke. This guy knows what he's doing. It's unclear why exactly Bailey wasn't fit for the job. Well, who left? Did he leave or did they make him leave? In his legal filing, Peltz says Bailey encountered challenges while planning the enormous event, which took place at the family estate in Palm Beach, Florida on April 9th, reportedly costing around $3.5 million. Okay. The guest list included more than 500 people, including numerous celebrities, athletes, dignitaries, and other influential individuals who traveled from all around the globe to attend. I wonder what those challenges were, especially when this is what he does for a living. Celebrity events. What challenges could have possibly come up at this one specific event that made it just too much? Much too much for Mr. Bailey. He does this all the time, but for some reason, this particular one, he couldn't handle the challenges. Could those challenges perhaps be people? Or perhaps could they be unrealistic expectations that are too difficult to be met in the time frame within which they're being requested? I don't know. But I feel like if this planner wasn't good at this, we would have found out earlier, right? The Peltz family had grand plans for the 3-day extravaganza for their daughter, who they describe as a world-famous actress. Why does that term keep coming up? It's literally on her Wikipedia page. Sorry. Every time you have to say it multiple times, or it's like the phrase you're clinging to, I feel like it lessens the validity of it for me just a little. Nicola is a world-famous actress. There we are. Who has starred in blockbuster movies and television shows, including, among others, Transformers, Age of Extinction, Bates Motel, and The Last Airbender. I have not seen a single one of those. That doesn't mean she's not world-famous, though. It just means I've got some catching up to do. The guest list included more than 500 people, including numerous celebrities, athletes, dignitaries, and other influential individuals who traveled from all around the globe to attend, the lawsuit reads. Oh, this is in the lawsuit. Oh, wait. So is the first quote. They had to list off her resume in the lawsuit. That's great. Good for you. On March 1st, 2022, 6 weeks before the wedding, the Peltz family had hoped Bragan and Grijalba would be able to help pick up where Bailey left off. I cannot imagine the scope of that, of picking up an event, a $3.5 million event 6 weeks before. I couldn't imagine, especially if there was not a clean handoff from the previous planner that's like, here's everything we've done, here's all the stuff, here's all the previous emails, here's all the contracts organized for you, here's what needs to be done, here, blah, blah. Like without having that, you're going in going, okay, bride and groom, family, tell me your expectations because I don't have anything else to go off of here. That's at least what I'm thinking, because I highly doubt that Bailey called up this new planner and was like, hey, here's all the details that you need. Are you taking notes? Okay, good. But the article goes on to say, 9 days later, after forking out $159,000 deposit, they decided not to move forward with the pair who said they couldn't handle the VIP guest list. I'm sure that was it. I'm sure it's just too many famous people. I can't handle it. It's too much. The celebrity of the wedding couple, combined with the anticipated attendance of many high-profile guests, required that the wedding planner have the expertise and staffing to plan, coordinate, and execute a wedding event of the expected caliber and complexity, Nelson's lawyers say in the lawsuit. I mean, I don't disagree. That is a very fair statement. The issue now at hand is the deposit, which Peltz sued for in Miami this week. In the process of trying to get his money back, he has revealed some intimate details of the star-studded event. He included screenshots of a group text between him, the planners, and Nicola. Okay, little extra details. Bailey stepped down 6 weeks before the wedding in a mutual agreement with Nelson and Nicola Peltz, according to the new court filings. Okay, so earlier we saw that Bailey stepped down, the planner stepped down, and then we saw that the Peltz family dismissed him, and now we're saying, oh, it was mutual. Don't worry about it. It was mutual. In some of the text messages, Nicola told the planners she was tired of catching their repeated mistakes. This is such a hard job. I don't know if I would take on a job this close with that big of a budget with this much going on. This is a really hard job to take on, and not necessarily because of celebrity status, not necessarily because of the budget, but simply because of all of the administrative details that could very easily fall through the cracks because you have not been there the whole time. In an exchange about F1 star Lewis Hamilton, who the couple has invited to the bash, Nicola wrote, "Lewis Hamilton did not RSVP, so explain why his name's on the list, please. We spoke to him. He can't come, so explain why you said he RSVP'd yes," she demanded in one text. If we use the word demanded, then it makes it sound a lot more intense and it makes her sound a lot more crazy and a little, rude. What if she just asked it? She just asked. The wedding planner tried to explain that she wasn't familiar with the virtual guest list and needed more time to get grips with the technology. We have previous existing technology from the previous planner that this new planner is like, I don't understand how the software works. Give me a second. I'd be happy to do it. That's my guess. Okay, so the exchange says Lewis Hamilton did not RSVP. So explain why his name's on the list, please. Oh, she said, please. See, we're not demanding. We spoke to him. He can't come, so explain why you said he RSVP'd yes. Give me a sec, planner says. Planner continues, give me a sec because this system for RSVP, it's new to me. I haven't got a chance to learn how to pull out the data. Oh, absolutely. By urgency and wanting to help you, by mistake, we sent you everyone that entered the link today. I'm learning now how to filter the exact information that you need to explain to my assistant, and she can dedicate from now on to do this with undivided attention. I need time to do this. I'm going to take a moment to learn the app, and I'll send you the information. I hate looking like a fool, but I hate the most not giving you what you need ASAP. I will be back soon. That's not true. He didn't RSVP at all. Oh, wait, that's the dad saying this. Okay, because then the planner says this. Then the email from him was wrong or I pulled the wrong data. That's why. Give me a sec. Nicholas said the email is correct for him. Planner said, then I pulled the wrong database. I'm a wedding planner, not a tech. LOL. Give me a second. I will not let this defeat me. Dad says, can someone please call me? Nicola then follows up, I'm tired of catching mistakes on this RSVP list, honestly. And then the wedding planner comes back with all of the RSVPs that they know so far, from the welcome event to the wedding event to the brunch, and then the amount of people not attending. She also comes up with a plan of attack, said, we got all the numbers from the Peltz family guest list, and N&B will start calling from Monday. On Monday, we will call the person from the Beckham's family to call them. Okay, yada, 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 any hoodles. You get the point. The planner's like, I don't understand the software. I think I pulled something incorrectly. I'm so sorry. Just give me a second. I'll try to figure this out. I do think that they played their hand a little bit by being like, I'm so sorry. I want to do everything right for you. I'm so sorry. This is really bad. I'm not a tech person. Nope. No. As planners, we say, let me figure it out for you. Or I'm not sure yet. Let me get an answer for you as quickly as I can. And not, that's not my job. I don't do tech. So I'm so sorry. I hate making you mad. Now, of course, this is me obviously really exaggerating this planner and the responses because it makes for better content. But if we go with the spirit of the conversation here, the planner is very clearly being like, hey, it's new to me. Let me figure it out. I'll get back to you. And obviously, most of the issues we see here, we can't see behind the scenes, but most of the issues we see here are specifically with the guest list, with the RSVP system. So Nicola's getting all frustrated, understandably. She's got new planners who don't understand the tech, and it's going to kind of keep glitching out on them, and they're going to be continued mistakes. And so that would be, as the planner, that's kind of how I would address this specifically, be like, hey, we're probably going to run into a few more. Here's the plan of attack on how we're going to handle this, simply because I can't guarantee that we're going to be 100% confident in pulling the data from this particular tech in time. So here's going to be our plan moving forward, which might be what the planner did here. In his lawsuit, though, Peltz also makes the suggestion that the wedding planners were abusing alcohol. References to alcohol use and possible abuse were not unusual, his attorneys wrote in their lawsuit. In one message sent around a week before the RSVP conversation, Ariana posted in the chat that she was going for a tequila before her head exploded, to which Nicola replied, yes, queen. I literally would never send that to a client in a group text with both of their parents. And I would not say anything about alcohol unless I felt like I had a little bit of rapport with the couple that I'm working with. And even then, I'm not going to tell them that I need tequila to deal with the stress of their event. Sorry, I'm getting loud. But those are just like rookie confidence mistakes, right? Where you're trying to bond, you're trying to say something silly and like, oh yeah, I need some tequila after this, but what it really does is it doesn't promote your client's confidence in you when you make commentary like that. Does it make sense? Do I understand where you're coming from? Sure. Would I do the same thing? Nope. And he says the commentary about alcohol is common, but I literally only see one. I see one, and then multiple people saying enjoy and literally no other references. So I feel like if you had receipts, you try to show more of them than just the one time the one planner said something goofy about trying to have some tequila, because your wedding's a lot. Because don't get me wrong, I might want some too if I was taking on an event of this magnitude 6 weeks before the big day. Would I share it? Sure wouldn't. Sure wouldn't. Would I feel it? Probably. The Peltz family say the pair of wedding planners oversold their abilities, promising them they could handle the event, which was the, quote, opportunity of a lifetime. Peltz had presented them with the opportunity of a lifetime. We're repeating ourselves a lot here. To have their names associated with the wedding of two world-famous celebrities, which would undoubtedly propel PDE, the name of the company, into wedding planning stardom. I literally had a client promise me that once too. And here we are, still doing YouTube. In reality, however, it became clear that PDE viewed this as an opportunity to take advantage of the Peltz family by making material misrepresentations on both their website and in person regarding their experience, expertise, and capability of planning the wedding. We're 6 weeks out. The wedding's planned. And now it's just administrative details of organizing the guest list and fine-tuning all the last-minute items. On March 4th, what Peltz's attorney described as the day of reckoning, he called the pair to let them know they'd lost the gig. During their 9 days of negotiations, PDE failed to book a single new wedding vendor. Why are we booking new vendors 6 weeks out? What are we doing? Oh my, okay. What if they failed to book them because they're all booked? Because it's 6 weeks out. Oh my gosh. Failed to finalize the terms of any agreements with any of the vendors that had previously been selected by Peltz and his family, and failed to attend previously scheduled meetings with Peltz. The failure to attend meetings, that's a bummer. I can't really cover you on that. Maybe you had a flat tire. I don't know what happened. I can't speak to that. But if we're talking like 5-6 weeks out from the event and you're out there scrambling trying to get vendors booked within 9 days, when most vendors, especially of that caliber and that level, are probably not going to be available on such short notice. You give them 9 days. Here's a brand new list of vendors to go figure out, along with finalizing the terms of any agreements with vendors that have been previously selected. Why are you just now finalizing agreements 6 weeks before the wedding? Why was this not finalized beforehand? If by agreements you mean the contract, the proposal, those sorts of things, all of that should have been settled way ahead of time. And right now, at the last minute, we're fine-tuning those details. How many centerpieces do we need? We're talking to the chef. How much food do we need for the event? What are we looking at? Let's run through the menu one more time. We're not finding an entirely new chef, ideally. Otherwise, that'd be really hard. Admitting they lacked the skills to perform as promised, PDE recommended hiring an additional planner. I don't know where they admitted this. That's unfortunate. If they didn't have it, they didn't have it. I get it. Or maybe they just didn't have the energy to take on all these last minute requests while already inheriting a giant wedding with absolutely no clean baton passover from the previous planner, which, by the way, is totally understandable. He's out skis. He doesn't need to be there anymore. It's just a lot. It's a hot mess. 2 days later, they begged Nelson and his wife, Claudia, to not spread negative gossip about them, writing in an email, in order to avoid negative gossip, we would appreciate that in the case you are asked to comment on our departure, that your answer reflects the work and good attitude we put into the process, and no professional reason for our detachment. We will say we are under NDA and cannot comment. This keeps us both in a very good place. We really wish you and the family a fantastic event. We're sure, as you even said, that our paths will cross in the future, as I have truly felt we had a great connection with you and Claudia. Again, we're using really strong language here. I don't see that as begging. I see that as, hey, we'll be courteous to you, you be courteous to us. It was a great working relationship while it lasted. And as even you said, our paths will cross again in the future. So you're ending this on a very amicable level. Is this the same level of amicable y'all had with Preston Bailey and him leaving? Because this sounds nice. This sounds fine. But plot twist, that path crossing is a lawsuit. Bet they did not see that coming. The family ended up hiring Michelle. Okay, I know who this is, but I've never heard her last name pronounced. Is it Rago? Michelle Rago Destinations? Because of course she's like infamous in the wedding industry, but like I've only ever seen her name typed. Michelle Rago of Michelle Rago Destinations, who pulled off the event seamlessly. Because of the tight time frame, Peltz claims he had to pay Rago a substantially higher fee than what Rago Destinations would have charged under normal circumstances. That still would have been the case if you hired them immediately after departing from Preston. 9 days, while this close to wedding is pretty crucial, is not going to make a massive difference. She wouldn't have charged you substantially less if you booked her 9 days previously. So then he goes back to ask for his deposit from the previous two planners, and they refuse to return it. So he's suing them. This one is absolutely unfortunate all around. My heart really does go out to kind of everyone in this situation. Maybe the planners were ill prepared. Maybe they thought they could take it on. Obviously, it said in the article at one point they admitted that they weren't capable of doing something like this and they were going to bring on an additional planner. Maybe the expectations of the family were too high. But all I got to say is, from an outsider's perspective, to pass off an event of this magnitude 6 weeks before the wedding day is fixing to be a recipe for disaster, which is why we ran into so many guest list mistakes, because they're learning new technology and they're right in the time frame where they're starting to get those RSVPs back in. So truly, it complicates things greatly. I get it. I feel for these planners. Should they have taken on this job? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. There's so much behind the scenes that we just don't know about. But let's read some of the Reddit comments on this. I don't care for them, but reading through these texts, I can see why they were fired. They seemed unorganized and unfamiliar with their own system, which is literally their job. Also, there was like 2 unpleasant texts. I don't blame her for being frustrated and wanting her deposit back unless it was a non-refundable situation. It was probably a non-refundable situation, and this is technology they're not familiar with, that they are inheriting a couple weeks before the wedding. Someone replies, Nicola wasn't rude in any of the texts, just blunt. The company signed for an event they didn't have the experience to handle. However, the fact that they parted ways with a top celeb planner before them makes me think they were harder to deal with. Also, they could have afforded another top planner, but went for a company that would see this as a big break. Super odd. I agree. Even if they're 100% not lying and the company was incompetent, screw them billionaires for suing a small company for the equivalent of pocket change. Most deposits are non-refundable. And I can see why in a situation like this, the planner's like, we just busted our booties for the last 9 days. Now, that's still a really giant deposit. Like, don't get me wrong. That's a lot of money. But it's also a huge event, and they had a lot of information to learn in a very short amount of time and a lot of things to do. So if they did the service, if they worked for 9 days, and that covers the cost of their working for 9 days, all I have is one question. Are you hiring? I would not be mad about making that amount of money in 9 days. I would not be mad. Even a third of that in 9 days. I'm just saying. 6 weeks before an event, I guarantee it was non-refundable. I'd be shocked if that wasn't in their contract. It is. I would bet money. It is. I was an event planner for years, incredibly stressful. I can't imagine planning for something like this, let alone taking over someone's work, so I feel for them. Although you don't capitalize anything, which kind of annoys me a little bit. I will say I don't like the Peltz fam, but Nicola and her mom didn't seem that bad in the text shown considering the situation. However, homegirl went through 3 planners and had a fallout with the Beckhams, well, allegedly. Something isn't quite adding up. I'm sure they were not and are not as easy as the text Mr. Peltz provided. And the Wikipedia page. Nicola is a world famous actress. Gosh, love to see it. Is the world famous actress in the room with us now? Sorry. I'm a world famous wedding planner. Write that down. Why didn't she just use Marcy Bloom or Mindy Weiss or one of the many celeb wedding planners? The only part of this that I really have a problem with is her picking someone that couldn't handle the event. Well, my guess is 6 weeks out, they're probably booked. Probably a little busy. I mean, they might have planners that could take it over, but when you're looking at $3.5 million, you really kind of want your best on the team ready and available for that. And planners like Marcy and Mindy are probably not going to have a lot of leftover planners hanging out 6 weeks before an event. They're going to be on other things. So, just saying. Probably because they could smell their BS from a mile away. Crummy clients are never worth it unless you really need the cash. I think that's why Preston, who is a legend, walked away. The check wasn't worth the hassle of putting up with them. By the time they got to Michelle, I'm sure she was able to negotiate a comfortable upcharge because she knew they needed somebody and fast. Seems messy to have 7 people in a wedding planner group chat. Is this normal? Nope. No, it's not. No, this is super unprofessional. I would never do this with my clients. This is distracting. Makes me question these planners. I am in the same boat. I am a hard hey, do me a favor, send this to me via email. You could CC as many people as you want, okay? But I have 2 points of contact on my contract. Why? Because one of my very first events, the mothers and fathers of both the bride and groom would call me asking me questions instead of their children. And to be totally honest, I don't charge enough to be that person. So I'd just be like, oh, you could ask them. They have the details on it a little bit more than I did because I was more of like a wedding coach than instead of like a full planner. Like they did some of the things on their own. I'm like, I don't know. You'd have to ask them. But what really tipped me over the edge was the call that I got at 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning from the mother of the bride because she had a question. And I was like, no, ma'am. That call went to voicemail so hard. Meaning I just silenced it and let it ring for the normal amount of time and didn't let her know that I was sitting there staring at my phone slightly frustrated because now is not the time, ma'am. So this is one of the longest videos I have made in a very long time. Usually we don't touch on pop culture here, but I couldn't let this one pass me by. Now that this wedding's back in the spotlight, I thought, let's just cover a couple details just for funsies on a random Tuesday afternoon. So in light of all this new additional information, looking back on the whole slow dance scenario and knowing the caliber of the final wedding planner they ended up with, I would chalk this up to a big fat whoopsie, whether on behalf of the DJ or Mr. Anthony saying something a little bit awkward, making everyone a little bit uncomfy. But knowing the behind the scenes drama changes my mind about this situation just a little bit. How about you? What do you think? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. So if you guys like the video, jump on down there, like the video, and subscribe to this channel for more tips and tricks for the modern day bride, and occasionally something a little spicy on the side. And until next week, bye guys!